What's up, everybody? My name is Rachel Duxler, and today I wanted to share my story with you on why I decided to create my very own YouTube cooking channel. If you could, I would love it if you liked and subscribed at Redefining All Diets, because your support means everything to me. So let's get started on my journey to starting to cook healthier meals for myself. It wasn't always like that, because growing up, we would just eat the typical standard American diet, which consisted of a lot of McDonald's, Burger King, and soda pop, just to name a few things. And that snowballed into myself having a lot of stomach issues as I grew older, and I really didn't know any better. I mean, I have an entire family history on both ends of the spectrum that have leaky gut, IBS, and ulcerative colitis, just to name a few things. And when I got to college, everything changed for me. I had nobody tell me what I had to eat anymore, and I would just end up drinking my troubles away on the weekends because, like everybody else, I had a really stressful college load. I mean, I was majoring in information technology because I had the hopes to become a web developer. And I had no idea what the hell I was doing most of the time. I struggled through college just to even pass my classes and to get a B. I probably spent up to 40 plus hours a week in the lab and in the library doing homework because it really wasn't for me. And cooking was the last thing on my mind. When I turned 21 in 2012, I ended up putting on 20 pounds in one semester because I started drinking every single day to hide the pain of my struggles through my college career. When I got to my internship, I had a really prestigious internship at a credit card company that a lot of people weren't able to get. They chose 20 interns out of thousands of people that applied, and I was thankful to be one of the ones that got selected. That really didn't matter, because when I got there and I put on my clothes ready to face my first day, my clothes didn't even fit me. I couldn't even button up and pull up my pants because I was so heavy and overweight now that I didn't even want to leave and get out the door. I ended up just putting on a skirt because I couldn't even wear pants anymore. Thankfully, it was at least warm out, so I didn't have to worry about freezing my butt off. But I pretty much wore that skirt every single day because I felt so much shame in my body. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror anymore to even want to put on pants because I was just embarrassed that they wouldn't even zip. And even if they did, my stomach rolls hung over my pants and I was just completely embarrassed. And that embarrassment ended up rubbing off into my daily life. I faced every day with my stomach hurting, spending at least 15 minutes every day, at least multiple times, while I was at work in the bathroom pooping because I just ate like crap and I really didn't know any better. And it was just affecting my work ethic. I couldn't even get my work done, and the struggles just continued as I progressed into my college career. So I had one of two choices. I could keep eating like crap, the fast food, the soda pop, the alcohol, or I could completely change my diet and take control of my life and lose the weight and have the body that I always dreamed of, which is to be fit and lean like I am now. And that didn't just happen overnight. I had a roommate who inspired me when she lost approximately 80 pounds just by cooking foods that you would normally see at a restaurant or in a box from the comfort of her own kitchen. And her food tasted really good. And I had no idea that you could even do this or that was even possible because I had no experience and I never even stepped foot in a kitchen. So since I was a tech savvy person, I just typed in on Google alternative healthy recipes for, let's say, pizza. That was a big one for me. So that was actually one of the first things I cooked. And I would find different bloggers such as Skinny Taste, Minimalist Baker, and Simply Quinoa, who had a lot of those recipes for the foods that I loved that were making me sick when I would go out to eat them or just buy whatever processed foods I could fit into my mouth. So when I started doing that, I used my roommates as guinea pigs when I would try different recipes, and not all of them turned out to be good when I first started. And as I kept going, it kept tasting better and better. And I started gaining that confidence to start making my own food in the kitchen. And I would come home from my classes for the day in college and start cooking and meal prepping. So when I was spending hours in the lab struggling, I could at least come home to a healthy meal. And it just took a little bit of managing my time more effectively instead of constantly going out and partying, which I still did, obviously. I just woke up a little bit earlier, went to the grocery store with my roommates who helped me learn how to go grocery shopping because I couldn't even do that on my own. And I just started cooking. I followed the recipes verbatim because if I just started to create my own recipes from scratch, I was afraid that I would just burn the whole kitchen down, which didn't happen, thankfully. I'm very blessed with that. And by the time I got back to college, within 1 year, I managed to lose 10 pounds on my own while I was still, drinking and having pizza every now and then. And I had enough energy to be able to run a half marathon, which I could have never done had I changed my diet and started really caring about what foods went into my body. And that was me at about 22 years old. So when I graduated, I went straight into corporate America, which is exactly what I wanted to do at the time, where again, I would be spending 40 plus hours sitting in the same spot behind my desk, working and typing and coding, and not really having a lot of time to really think about eating healthy. So on the weekends, I would spend that time meal prepping, so I would be able to have a meal to bring with me to work, so I didn't have to worry about going to the cafeteria and getting pizza and soda pop, which is what a lot of people got. And it really scared me the way that people looked. A lot of them were just big giant balloons that weren't really taking care of themselves. And that was something that I couldn't do. I had to be an example for myself if I wanted to survive working in corporate America, which is exactly what I did. And I managed to lose 20 more pounds, which I've managed to keep off to this day, which I'm very blessed about. And as I kept cooking, my coworkers would come up to me and be like, "What's for lunch? That smells delicious." I mean, they had no desire to cook for themselves, but I just shared with them my food whenever we had the opportunity, like let's say for a corporate gathering or we had a team lunch. I would always make extra, so I made like extra cookies. They were gluten and dairy free, of course, because my stomach couldn't handle all of that cheese and milk anymore or ice cream. So when I started making that, it really inspired my coworkers to think differently about the way that they would look at their food. And they looked at me and they're like, "Wow, you look great. What did you do?" And I'm just like, "Well, I just cooked my own food for myself and stopped going out to eat as much." And once I did that, it snowballed into an effect for the rest of my life, going into my 30s now, that I've still kept that habit and that lifestyle long past me working at corporate America. And eventually, a couple years later, I ended up getting separated from corporate America, and I wanted to start creating my own business on teaching people how to cook their own foods from ingredients that they have in their kitchen that you would normally eat at a restaurant, but instead you take it in your own home and start preparing that for yourself. And it definitely wasn't easy. I really had no backup plan at the time. So I hired a couple coaches that taught me how to do Facebook Lives, for example, and really starting to share my message on there. But it just wasn't working for me. I felt so awkward creating videos. Like now, it just felt super rehearsed, and people rubbed off on that, and I just wasn't getting the engagement that I needed. So I just didn't feel good enough. I kept hiring more and more coaches to help me with my relationship with myself because I didn't trust myself to run my own business. And so eventually I got myself into a bunch of debt, and I had to go back and work for somebody else for about a year. And that really wasn't what I wanted to do. I was completely miserable when I stepped foot in somebody else's work environment, having to do what they want, when deep down I knew that I wanted to work on having my own income and work by my own rules and start my own day with the life that I designed for myself. Like I designed my own recipes for myself. And after about a year, then COVID-19 hit, and once again I was out of job. And I just really didn't want to go back on social media anymore. It just felt really unhealthy to me, constantly creating this content and not getting the feedback that I was looking for, because I just felt like I really wanted to get my message out there so desperately that it came off like I was desperate and constantly was rehearsing things to say the right things to people to hopefully inspire them to change their lives. But a lot of people didn't. My social media network was not the network that I was meant to influence. So when COVID hit, I decided to get myself off of social media and stop making promises to my community. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make these cooking demos here and there. And I never really did, because I just felt so awkward talking in front of a camera that I just hid myself behind my shame and just did nothing for the first few months. And when I finally backed myself into a wall, I'm just like, you know what, screw it. I just have to do the damn thing already and start creating the life of my dreams, because no one's gonna create it for me. No coach that I hire is gonna make me create the videos that I wanted to do. I was just trying so hard to be somebody else that now that I have my own channel, I can finally be myself and show people how to cook recipes in their very own kitchen and not have to, be on social media to do that. And I'm really excited to see where this takes me, because I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it just took a couple of years of courage and failure and getting out of my comfort zone and releasing shame of what other people would think of me as they watch my videos. And I just have to do it. And I really hope that me creating this channel inspires people to start finding ingredients in their own kitchen and be able to make healthy recipes that don't have to take hours to prepare. And you can have a lot of leftovers that you can freeze and have for days where you don't want to cook, which is completely okay. And it'll take time, but you'll be able to lose the weight that you want to and have the body that you desired if you just keep taking small steps every day, like me creating this video for you guys, and simply creating a new lifestyle for yourself. Because as you keep taking those steps, you'll start to see results and your life will completely change. So I really hope that this video inspired you guys to get off your rear ends and start taking action right now. Adios, everybody.